Hello everybody and welcome. My name is Emily and today we're going to talk about all of the books I plan to read in September. I'm filming this at the end of the first week of September and this past week has been so hectic for me. I have not finished one book, but that does not mean we cannot make plans for the rest of the month. I haven't really found any readathons that I really want to do this month, except for maybe Femme Fatale. It's so weird, but so liberating to make a TBR without a readathon in mind. So my TBR is pretty freeform this month. There's not really a particular theme that I'm going for, but let's get right to it. Let's get to my TBR. So for the past few months, I have just been in a real Star Wars mood. I've been wanting to consume the comics, graphic novels, the books, and the expanded universe. I've been wanting to rewatch films. I've been wanting to watch videos about Star Wars. So first on this month's TBR are the Star Wars prequel trilogy novelizations. So that would be The Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and Revenge of the Sith. I am unashamedly a fan of the Star Wars prequel films. You cannot change my mind about this. Those films are not perfect in execution, I readily admit that, but I've always been a fan of the world building in those films and the story and the characters. And somehow I have never got around to reading the novelizations of these films, which is a travesty. I've heard that these books are great at deepening your understanding of different characters' perspectives, and also they add on extra scenes to the story to really help the character development. So I am super excited to be inside the heads of my favorite characters from the Star Wars saga. I'm actually reading the first one for The Phantom Menace right now. I've also heard the one for Revenge of the Sith is a masterpiece, so I'm so excited to get around to that eventually. In keeping with my Star Wars craze, the next book on my TBR is Queen's Shadow by E.K. Johnston. So this is a novel in the new Star Wars canon. I believe this book covers the period right after Queen Amidala steps down from the throne in Naboo, and she's been asked to be a senator, and this book covers her transition between the two roles. I've always been a fan of Padme Amidala. I think she's a really badass woman who still maintains her femininity, which I think we need to see in more female characters. And because of the massive scope of the Star Wars prequel films, I don't think we spend enough time with Padme Amidala and her actual job as a politician. Because Padme does have her badass moments, but at heart, she is a politician and a diplomat. She talks with people and makes deals with people, and I would love to see more stories with her doing that in that capacity. And I think a prequel book, Queen's Peril, just came out, so I need to read this book before I read that book. Next up is Children of Dune by Frank Herbert. So one of my favorite YouTubers, Comic Book Girl 19, or otherwise known as Danica XIX on Twitter, she is running a Dune book club and has done for the past few years. And now we are on the third Dune book club, which covers the third Dune book, Children of Dune. So Paul Atreides was the main character of our first two books, and in this third installment, we focus more on the children of Paul Atreides when they have grown and are coming into power. So I think Danica is doing bi-weekly live book club discussions of this book on Twitch, and I haven't watched the first few because I am not caught up on the reading yet. So I need to get cracking on this book. I really need to catch up with her live shows because I really just want to read along with her. Next up is The Hero of Ages, which is the third installment of Brandon Sanderson's Mistborn trilogy. Last month I read The Well of Ascension for Tome Topple Readathon, and I thought it was fantastic. And I want to finally finish this trilogy, which has such a massive reputation in the fantasy world. And also finishing this series was one of my 2020 reading goals, so that will be another accomplishment that I can finally check off. So it occurred to me while reading this TBR that I really need to start cracking on my physical TBR. So another of the books that I'm going to read this month will be Nocturna by Maya Motena. I think this has been described a lot as a Latinx version of A Darker Shade of Magic. So from what I can tell from the summary of this book, this is about a thief called Finn who has shape-shifting powers, and she teams up with a prince called Alfie who also has magical powers. They accidentally release some sort of dangerous magic into the world and they have to team up to stop it. So yes, that sounds kind of like a darker shade of magic. So I've heard mixed reviews of this book. I know Read with Cindy really didn't like it, and it's also gotten some lukewarm reviews from other people. So we'll see. I've had this book for over a year now, so it's about time I read it. Next up is another book I received in Fairy Loot like over a year ago. This is Circle of Shadows by Evelyn Skye. This is about two trained warrior apprentices who stumble on a enemy warrior group and decide to infiltrate that group and sort of get involved in some political intrigue involving their kingdom. Based on this art print that was included with the book, I'm guessing this is an Asian-inspired society world that we're in. Like, it's got the character for strength kind of scrawled all over the place. But yeah, I'm down for some diverse Asian-authored fantasy. I'm not really sure what to expect going into this because I haven't really seen it much around. I don't think it's been very hyped up or anything, but I'm planning on reading it. We'll see how that goes. And last but not least on my TBR is The Dragon Republic by R.F. Quang. This is the second installment in the Poppy War trilogy, the first of which I read for Tome Topple a few months ago. The Poppy War is set in a thinly veiled allegory for China. I call the world of the Poppy War not China because it basically is China. It draws on a lot of modern Chinese history like the Opium War and the Sino-Japanese War. The first book was fantastic. It did not hold back in talking about the realities of war. The world building was actually pretty cool. I was interested in the different twists Rebecca Quang took on Chinese culture and society. I was also a fan of her magic system. I love how people can access deities by ingesting psychedelics or simply through meditation. After how the first book ended, we are in a place of a lot of possibility. And also the third book is coming out quite soon. Actually, I don't know if it's already come out. I haven't been keeping track. So I'm excited to get around to that book. So I probably should read this book first. So that does it for my September TBR. I hope you enjoyed this video. Tell me what books you are planning to read in September. Remember to like this video if you liked it and subscribe to my channel. You can also follow me on Twitter, Goodreads, and Instagram, and I will see you in my next video.